Good evening. We'll begin as usual with some quiet meditation. I'll guide you with that, so please find a comfortable posture. So bring all your attention inwards to your body, your mind, right here, right now. In Buddhism, or the Buddhist teachings, there are many meditation objects and methods. 4 central meditation objects are what we call the Araka Kammatthana, which means the 4 guardian meditations. Meaning these 4 meditations help to guard over or protect your mind from the mental defilements, unwholesome qualities that lead to stress and suffering. So they include the meditation on the Buddha as an object, Buddhanusati, cultivation of the meditation object of metta, goodwill, the recollection of the body, the physical body, and in particular the unattractive aspect of the physical body, and the last one is the recollection of death, the concept or theme of death. These are 4 different meditations which kind of support each other. The first 2 are more positive. Most people find them uplifting, recollecting the Buddha or the object of goodwill, kindness. The last 2 are more sobering and bring up this sober awareness of the impermanence of the body, impermanence of life, and the unattractiveness of the body. Meditation tends to have these 2 aspects. The side that uplifts the mind and brings joy, and with that we gain enthusiasm, gladness, and ultimately some serenity and tranquility of mind. The other kinds of meditation quieten the mind down, compose the mind, help to cut through a lot of distracted thinking and worrying and planning. And lead on to the practice of vipassana, or insight, wisdom, developing insight. In the forest tradition, we use the recollection of the Buddha and the qualities of the Buddha often as a way to calm the mind. We've inherited from Lumpur Man, Lumpur Sao, Lumpur Man, who are like the grandfathers, the original modern-day forest monks, even though they lived 100 years ago, and continued by teachers such as Ajahn Chah and his contemporaries. And recollection of the Buddha can be as simple as reciting the word Buddho from Buddha. Buddho literally means the awakened one, or the awakened state of mind. It's one of the ways we refer to the Buddha. One of the qualities of a Buddha is awakened. Awakened to the truth, and just awakened. The mind of a Buddha is always awakened. In Thai we say Puru, Putun, Pubakban. Puru means the knowing, Putun means awake, Pubakman means happy, blissful. So these three qualities develop together when you focus your mind and recollect the Buddha. In simplest form, you practice Buddhanusati, or recollection of the Buddha, simply reciting the word Buddha over and over again to, you might say, fill up your mind with the Buddha and the recollection of the Buddha, keeping the Buddha in mind by reciting Buddha, 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 quietly to yourself. And the more you do this and keep your mindfulness by keeping Buddha in mind, the less your mind strays and is distracted by other thoughts. All the other thoughts and memories, sensations and feelings that come into the mind while you're reciting Buddha can be known but then quickly let go of. They're not the object of the meditation. It's recollecting the Buddha is. It's not the only way to recollect the Buddha. Some people have a visual mind and they can create an image of the Buddha. Or sometimes they remember a picture or a statue of the Buddha. Or if you're in a place with a statue of the Buddha and you sit in front of the Buddha statue, you can focus your mind for the first part of the meditation on that statue. If you find it inspiring, you look at the Buddha, and rather than remembering the word Buddha or Buddha, or recollecting various qualities of the Buddha, such as his wisdom, compassion and so on, you just look at the physical features of that statue or picture. You commit them to memory, you hold that image in mind as much as you can. And most people find that this has a calming effect on the mind. When you remember the Buddha, you visualize the Buddha, then your mind settles down, becomes more peaceful, the distracting thoughts fade away. And if you practice often enough, recollecting or visualizing the Buddha, then you can turn to that object at will. You can remember the statue or the picture of the Buddha that you're used to bringing up in your meditation. And you keep doing that wherever, whenever, and not even when you're just walking, but when when you're sitting, but when you're walking, or even lying down before you go to sleep, or when you wake up in the morning, when you're sitting, when you're standing, you can maintain that image of the Buddha in your mind, or you can recite the word Buddha over and over again in any posture. As long as you're not required to speak or but use your thought to do a more complex task perhaps. You can recite Buddha as you do fairly simple tasks, cleaning, sweeping, repetitive tasks where you can just do a simple action over and over again. You can recite Buddha at the same time. Even something like eating, rather than talk to your friend, you can recite Buddho, Buddho, Buddho as you eat, as a way to bring up mindfulness in the present moment. So whether it's a recollection of the qualities of the Buddha, which I won't expand on here, or reciting the name of the Buddha, or a word that refers to the Buddha, like Buddho, or keeping an image of the Buddha in mind. Either way, the aim is to continuously turn your mind to that object, the word, the image, over and over again, as a way to keep your mind calm, peaceful. Some people find it brings them great joy, happiness to do this. And all the other more distracting thoughts, which often lead us to feel unhappy, discontent, and so on, they fade away the more you focus on Buddha. If you practice often enough, you might find that your mind just dwells with Buddha quite naturally. The word Buddha, the recitation of Buddha, returns to your mind at different times. When you've got nothing else to think about, or even if there are things to think about, but your mind and body are settling down, and the recitation of the Buddha may quite naturally come into your mind. Some people even find when they recite Buddha often, that during the night they dream of reciting Buddha. And they wake up in their dream, or they become aware in their dream, and they're reciting Buddha to keep mindful. So we can use this word, or the recollection of the Buddha, to calm the mind, drive out distracting thoughts, thoughts based in greed, addiction, obsession, thoughts rooted in anger, ill will, hatred, thoughts rooted in sloth and torpor, drowsiness, and so on, and fear. You can drive out fear by reciting Buddha. So for the last few minutes, just try it, either visualizing the Buddha or recollecting the word Buddha until you hear the sound of the bell.